It's Brian Wilson. Today we are joined by Emily Miller, where she's the chief investigative reporter over at Fox 5. She's filling in for Larry O'Connor, who has the day. Emily, good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Joining us on the line now is Kyle Trygstad, deputy political editor at Roll Call. We wanted to give you an update on where we are with these midterm races, which are so important. Many people looking to see how it's going to work out for Republicans in the midterm. Can Republicans take back the Senate, or will Democrats remain firmly in control? This is where it's all at right now. This is the big stakes game. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Brian.
All right, so first of all, is it still in play? Because for a while, you kept hearing that Republicans, well, a lot of things were falling their way, that it was looking, fairly positive for Republicans, especially given historical trends. Where does it stand at this moment?
I think they're in really good shape. I wouldn't say. I'd say it's pretty much a toss-up right now. But that's partly because Republicans have been so good at getting really good candidates to run. I mean, starting with Congressman Cory Gardner out in Colorado, he was probably their last recruit, but maybe their most important. I mean, that could be that sixth seat they need to win back the majority. So they've done a good job of fundraising and getting good candidates, where in past cycles I feel like that's sort of the reason why they weren't as successful.
Now, you had just come back from Georgia. Tell us the lay of the land there.
Yeah, Georgia is, they have a runoff tomorrow for the Republican primary, the Republican nomination, Congressman Jack Kingston and businessman David Perdue. Kingston is, I'd say he probably has a slight advantage right now, and I think a lot of Republicans up here in D.C. Are a little bit happy about that. I think either way, no matter who wins, Republicans will have an advantage there in Georgia, and that's one of the very few pickup opportunities for Democrats this cycle.
I was going to ask you, I mean, Kingston's just such a solid, been around here forever kind of guy. Why is he in such a tough race now?
Yeah, against David Perdue. Well, Perdue has his own money. He's put a lot of ads on the air. He's been on the air longer than anyone. I think he started back in January. And this is sort of a cycle where we're seeing the last few cycles. Really, we're seeing some outsider candidates get some momentum. And Purdue's running as a guy who's, not of Washington. Kingston's been here since, I think, 92.
Yeah.
So Purdue's run that real outsider versus insider race. And I think he's been pretty successful. And if anything, I'd say that race is still a toss-up going into tomorrow. So.
All right, so the two states that sort of fascinate me the most right now, where Republicans have a chance to pick up a seat, seem to be in Arkansas and in North Carolina. So let's sort of handicap both of those races.
Yeah, well, I'd say Republicans have a much better chance in Arkansas. The state is trending red, while North Carolina is probably one of the few purple states around. But Mark Pryor is running against one of Republicans' favorite recruits this cycle, Congressman Tom Cotton. He's a freshman, but a guy with a couple Harvard degrees, military background. He's really that, perfect candidate, really.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, he doesn't have a lot of time on the trail. He hasn't been a politician very long. So, whereas Mark Pryor has. So that's a really good race, and I think Pryor is hanging in there. But I'd say Arkansas is one of Republicans' best pickup opportunities.
And Pryor is one of the one who said to Obama, "I don't want you campaigning with me," right?
Yeah. I don't think we'll see Obama down there, but we will see probably Bill Clinton. I think he's been down there
right.
fundraising. But that's a good state for Clinton to go to.
North Carolina?
North Carolina. The problem for the Republicans there is that their recruit, who they really like, is State Speaker Tom Tillis. And the problem with being the head of the state legislature is if the state legislature is unpopular and passing some bills that maybe aren't popular statewide, then all of a sudden he's got a problem. And that's what has been his issue for the last month or so. And I think Senator Kate Hagan has gotten a little bit of an advantage over the last month. And we'll see. It'll probably still go down to the final week.
And I think Colorado is an interesting race.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, getting Gardner in the race was huge. Senator Mark Udall still has, I think, the edge there, but my goodness, I mean, this state was not in play 3 months ago until Cory Gardner got in the race.
Yeah.
So that was huge.
Where do you think, what are the polls looking like now there?
In Colorado, I think the last ones I saw, Udall still had a little bit of an edge, maybe five points or so, and I think if he wins, it'll be by 5 points at the most. But Gardner has a real shot there, and that's a state we thought was trending not purple but blue.
Right.
All right. Now, talk to me about Iowa. There's a very interesting story there.
This is the most fascinating state. This was a state where we thought Republicans could maybe go beyond the primary into a convention where anything can happen and any kind of really unwinnable Republican nominee could come out of there. Instead, State Senator Joni Ernst, who had the backing of the governor, she came through in the primary and won it outright. And now, all of a sudden, at the same time, the Democrats recruit Congressman Braley. He's been just stepping in it left and right, and this is now a toss-up race. Rothenberg Political Report roll call rating now has it as a toss-up. And a couple months ago, this was a state we thought Democrats would just take care of. So this is really, I'd say, the state that Republicans are most excited about, and they feel like could be that sixth seat.
To take the majority. So what if you just had to bet if it was tomorrow, and of course it's not, are the Republicans going to take back the Senate?
I would put my money on the Republicans, but I wouldn't be. I wouldn't feel 100%.
You wouldn't put a whole lot of money on it. Is that what you said?
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this, because what really is sort of at the bottom of all this is how much money each side is able to raise for their various candidates. And the effort to raise money for the midterms, Democrats versus Republican, who's doing the best?
Well, Democrats are doing much better. The DSCC has raised $25 million more than their counterparts at NRSC so far, cycle to date. Democratic candidates are just, they're doing really well. But at the same time, Republicans are hanging in there, too. They're not getting blown away, which I think is a testament to how well they're doing this.
$25 million is significant. What do you count for that? Why are they raising so much more money?
That's a good question. I think their online fundraising is much better. They're able to get a lot of those small donors. They were raising money off the Koch brothers for months and months. And they keep sending out warning signals to their supporters, like, this is it. Like, Republicans could win back Congress.
All right.
If we lose this.
But you've been traveling around the country a bit, and the other factor here is not just how much money you raise, and it has to do with what kind of campaigns they run, but also the mood of the electorate. Have you got a sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, people do not are. There's a lot of people out there who are not happy with President Obama, and when he is not on the ballot, as he's not going to be this November, their vote against him is going to be a vote against the Democratic candidate, and that's the thing that Democrats are most scared about. He's got a 42% approval rating, I think, on Real Clear Politics, and that's going to really hurt them. Their best hope is to make this a one-on-one race in each state.
Right.
And they have a chance because a lot of their candidates have been there a while. Mark Pryor has been there a while. People know him. And his play is to tell people, you don't know Tom Cotton. You can't trust him, but you know me.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting to watch. Listen, thank you so much for this sort of mid-season assessment of what's going on
Thanks, Kyle.
For the midterm elections. Kyle Trygstad, Deputy Political Editor of Roll Call. Thank you much.
Thanks.